Nick Thomas, is Christmas over?
It's over.
New Year's Day, come and gone?
Come and gone.
It's January. Let's do this. This is your January Cellar Series 2022 description. Around here, when January rolls around, it is a big sigh of relief. We had a great month, in December, but it's exhausting, and for good reason. But this is the time of the year where we get to reconnect, kind of maybe just with yourself and your closest friends and family with a bottle of wine. And we have 6 of those, which we are pretty jazzed about. So some very classic wine styles here from some of the great winemakers, anywhere in the world with some of these producers. Some great, domestic and old world options kind of sprinkled in. So this is $143 before, after the discount. So let's kind of jump right in here. So we've got 2 whites and we've got 4 reds to make sure that we kind of have, a bit of a sweater to put on in the glass a little bit, just kind of stay warm a little bit through the darkest of the year. So Bruno, Giacosa, and Arnase. So they really go hand in hand. There really isn't Arnase without Bruno Giacosa. Luca Corrado from Vieti, maybe a handful of other people are attributed to this, but it really kind of comes down to guys like Bruno. So Bruno unfortunately passed away a couple of years ago in 2018 and left a massive mark on the world of Barbaresco and Barolo, but he was also very passionate about this one grape called Arnase. So this is Bruno Giacosa's Arnase. This is the 2020 vintage, the current vintage. How do I think about Arnase? The wines have exceptional concentration. They have plenty of ripe fruits to them. Just think of kind of golden pear, this hint of like not super ripe pineapple, but just kind of this. There's a density to the wines, which I really appreciate when we're drinking white wine in January. So, I think that they go well with a lot of different kind of traditional Italian foods this time of year, but really they age quite well. I remember, looking back on the week that Bruno passed away, I was drinking wine with some friends, and we were at a customer's house who was very enthusiastic about Bruno Giacosa. We drank several bottles of his Barolo and Barbaresco. But we also opened up several vintages of this wine, and the wine ages fantastically. It's just a gorgeous wine. All stainless steel, about 30-year-old vines here, but just a nice postcard from the Langhe. Made in the village of Neve and Barbaresco. Great wine. So moving on to Librandi. So we're going from way up north, in Piedmont, all the way down south, like about as far as you can get on the southern Calabrian border. This is the Librandi family, and this is their Efeso. Efeso is a tribute to the Greek heritage of southern Italy and how important it is that the Greeks kind of brought winemaking with them. In the 8th century BCE, there is this king, or this prince, whose name was Onitris, and they ended up naming this part of southern Italy Oenotria, kind of the land of wine. So the roots of winemaking go so far back in Italy. It's really kind of special. So and really goes far back in Sicily and in Calabria. So this is a grape called Montanico. It's grown. It's a single vineyards amphitheater of sandstone over clay. Pretty close to the sea. The wine is made right in this village called Ciro, along the sea, and it comes across as maybe somewhat similar to Chardonnay, not as heavy as maybe your classic opulent California Chardonnay, but having a little bit more kind of weight than your white Burgundies from like the Macon, etc. So the wine is barrel fermented. It spends about a year in the barrel before release, and has lots of freshness, lots of that kind of Mediterranean kind of lemon oil thing, but it's just a killer bottle of white wine for the winter from southern Italy. So really nice wine right here. So Moving to the New World, in our first of 4 reds, we are going to Christum. Christum is the Gary family, and they started farming in 1992 in this amazing, kind of continuous estate that's in the Eola Amity Hills, south and west of Portland, Oregon. So the Eola Amity Hills is a volcanic kind of chain of vineyard sites that include some of our favorite producers anywhere in the Willamette Valley, but Christum is certainly one of them. The reason that we've kind of latched onto Christum in a lot of ways is because of the farming and the winemaking techniques that are really, really consistent here. So we're looking at biodynamic and organic farming, which is a great place to start. Anytime you have control over one kind of large hillside and one estate, which starts off at about 200 feet above sea level and goes up almost to 800 feet above sea level with their Eileen vineyard. This is about 60% estate from that hillside. The rest is purchased. It is mostly destemmed. I want to say it's about 50 to 60% destemmed. I'm sorry, it's stem included, like whole cluster. And what that means is that Steve Dorner, this pretty amazing winemaker, has taught a lot of other amazing winemakers in Oregon how to do this kind of old school trick of including very ripe stems in the fermentation to get like this extra gear of textural quality, and also there's a bit of an aromatic quality to it. A lot of our favorite Burgundies in good vintages have this stem inclusion, this whole cluster, which kind of makes the difference. So really lovely 2018 Oregon Pinot Noir here from Christum. So we are moving to Union Sacre. This is their Cabernet Franc from Paso Robles. Cabernet Franc is unlike Cabernet Sauvignon, as you might have kind of experienced, in that it's lighter, it's brighter, it's fresher, and in certain hands and with young vines, it can just kind of have this lovely kind of tension to it and energy. So we don't really talk about energy and tension from Paso. That's not, I think, very natural. But we have a French winemaker here. It's basically these 2 young guys who partnered up to kind of create this project, which is quite new. It's not even 10 years old yet. And they make mostly Riesling and a little bit of Pinot Noir, and then kind of a token Cab Franc. So that combination alone kind of gets me on paper, and it gets me pretty excited. So 30% concrete tank and 70% neutral barrel, 20-day long ferments, under 13% alcohol. The wine is a great transition from a Pinot Noir into some of our heavier set wines here. So Union Sacre, fresh and vibrant Cabernet Franc from Paso. Moving to Salcezzo, and we are going to Montepulciano. I absolutely love this label. I'm going to kind of show you the whole thing here. Kind of starts right here and it works into this gorgeous kind of set of hands. There's braille along the top. This is a very mindful, intentional producer. Everything is organic here. They use lightweight glass. They don't add any sulfur through the fermentations. Maybe a touch at bottling to make sure that we're not serving you vinegar. But when you have a very light touch like that, which has become a theme in our series here, you get very, very expressive Sangiovese. So this is the Prugnolo Gentile clone, which is common and a very big part of the wines of Montepulciano, that amazing little village in southeastern Tuscany. And yeah, this is my bottle. I mean, this is a bottle of 2015 that I pulled from my cellar. We get the 2017 tomorrow, which we have tasted and is part of this series. But I love producers like this. I love watching them age. I think they're highly complex wines, really, really authentic, wonderful expressions of Tuscan wine. So it always gets Trebbieri, in Italy. It gets great critical press across the spectrum because of, again, their intentional farming and just the all-around deliciousness of the product. So really fun wine for your next Italian meal at home. So finishing up with Stéphane Augier. Augier is kind of a young talent. He's been with his family's winery since 1997, but he makes just oodles of côte rôtie and just has this amazing touch with Syrah in his hometown of Ampuis, and on that amazing stretch of the Côte Rôtie vineyards. But this is his Côte du Rhône. So this is a wine that he is making a little bit further south here, a little bit, down near Avignon, where we see Châteauneuf-du-Pape and Gigondas, but very much mindful of kind of that peppery edge that you get from the Syrah from the north on those amazing kind of granitic soils that you find further up in the northern Rhone. So this is 60% Grenache, 35% Syrah, and 5% Mourvèdre. It's all whole cluster. So kind of going back to this, like this is all whole cluster. So there is that kind of other kind of textural component. All finished in concrete, so vinified in concrete, which just totally takes the oak equation out of it, and you just have pure, like Rhone fruit kind of coming at you. It'd be a great meal for kind of a great wine for kind of a snowy day. It's very warming, it's very southern. It's just a great transitionary Rhone wine, which I'm pretty jazzed about. So that is it. This is your description here. Thank you for sticking with us throughout 2021. We are super excited to introduce a lot of new things to you in 2022. We are celebrating 100 years, as a family-owned and operated business, which is super exciting, which you will no doubt hear a lot more about. But without further ado, enjoy the wines available this week.